Hey there everyone, this is Jeremy, the Music Andy, and we're here to talk about the Overload from Yard Act, forming in 2019 from Leeds, West Yorkshire, United Kingdom. This is a four-piece post-punk dance punk group, and they were releasing their first studio album. This is the first post-punk release in 2022. From what I believe, I haven't seen any albums or EPs come out. Maybe there are some more underground bands or something like that, but nothing that I've seen on my radar so far, so I'm very excited to hear from them. And they have also released an EP and singles kind of hyping this up, and I liked a lot of the singles that I've heard so far, so let's dive right into this album. Opening off this album is the first track, The Overload, self-titled. I'm sure that this is in reference to the Talking Heads song from Remain in Light, since every single modern post-punk band seems to look at the Talking Heads as gods. This is a very busy song. It has the bass bouncing like a trampoline, the drummers kind of chopping it up, and the guitars sound like their teeth chattering on a cold day. The vocals on this are very dry, they're pessimistic, they're sarcastic, they're philosophical, they're political. They're just everything wrapped up into one, and it carries out throughout this entire album. The biggest standout for me in the song is the guitar. It's very sinister, it's very suave in tone, and at the same time, it kind of transitions the song very, very well as it continuously evolves and progresses. Like I said, the lyrics and vocals are very dry, they're sarcastic, but they're also very humorous, and they also have key moments that stick out to me, like this first one off this first song. Show some respect and listen to my advice, because you'll find out if you don't challenge me on anything. You'll find out I'm very nice. Are you listening? I'm actually very fucking nice. You know, it's a little humorous. It's a side that you see on both sides of the political spectrum. I would definitely say one side more than the other, but I'm not going to take any political stances at this very moment. But again, it is very humorous, and it transitions well back into the main chorus of the song. Once we are swung back into this chorus, it isn't the same chorus necessarily. It is progressing a lot more. It's kind of taking a darker approach, tone-wise and scale-wise. I love this song very, very much. I think that they kind of hit it right on the head, lyrically, vocally, instrumentally. It hits everything that I want it to. You can see a lot of the influences that this band wears on their sleeve, and that's not a bad thing. I think one of the most notable bands that I can kind of compare them to is Pottery, with their first album, Welcome to Bobby's Motel. This is very groovy, very funky, very danceable, dance punk, post-punk music, and again, I think they hit it right on the head. Dead Horse Track 2 has that sinister, suave guitar that I was talking about before, kind of greeting us in and pulling us into the start of the song. Some of the reviews that I've seen on this album so far are a lot of people complaining about the vocals and the instrumentation. People were saying that the vocals aren't very emotional for the topics that they're talking about, and I gotta say I completely disagree. Dry is an emotion, sarcastic is an emotion, pessimistic is an emotion, and I think that when you pair it with these lyrics, I think it's just a match made in heaven. Going on to the instrumentation, yes, it is a bit stripped and a little bit simple at times, but the use of tones, reintroducing instruments, stripping them away, progressing upon them, I don't think is any knock to the band at all, and I think that it shows a lot of maturity, especially on a first album. Yard Act in this song is kind of taking a dig at their own nation that they're a part of, speaking against racial ideals that are still in the nation with, yes, it's true, I abandoned you, but I'm not scared of people that don't look like me, unlike you. They go further on speaking that media has normalized the idea of racism and putting a humorous spin on it. They go on to saying that the nation is bold on its idiocy, it is bound by its stupidity, and it is ironically sentenced itself to death. Altogether, through instrumentation, lyrics, and vocals, this has to be one of my favorite tracks on the entire album. Track 3, Payday. For some reason, I get this feeling that it sounds like if Pink Floyd wanted to make a punk song. When the chorus hits, James kind of has this little moment of, you know, take the money, take the money, take the money, and run. He kind of does this little growl that I just don't understand what's happening with it. The whirling wah guitars in the background are an interesting tone, but I think it's a little too distracting with all the other instruments that are going on, and it kind of clashes with the vocals. Honestly, I'm sure that I said this sounds like Pink Floyd making a punk song just because I heard Take the Money and Run, and I instantly linked Pink Floyd in my head to it. The ending electronic section is actually very nice, but altogether it's still not one of my favorite songs. It feels a little bit too poppy, a little too bubblegum for me in a punk standpoint. Rich, track 4, is the driest song in the entire album. The monotone vocals are complemented by this limping bass walk, and the drums are kind of off rhythm dancing around these lyrics. There's a moment when the woodblock comes in, and once this woodblock comes in, various of different tones start introducing their way into the musical scene that's going on. I think that the progression in this track is done very tastefully, and it's very impressive, especially from a debut band. I think that this is showing the potential of the band not only on this album, but for future albums down the line. Once they start developing their sound a little bit more, I could see this becoming a very notable band in the post-punk scene. Altogether, this is one of my favorite tracks on the album. You put angular guitars and woodblocks in a song, and I'm just instantly a fan for some reason. The Incident, track 5, plays a lot like the first track on this. Again, it is very busy, it's very catchy, it's very groovy, it's very funky. James on this track is absolutely going crazy with the vocals at times. He's kind of just spitting them out. He's doing a lot of wordplay. He's doing a lot of sentence craftsmanship that I like. This song doesn't progress as much as the Overload does, but I don't think that's a bad thing because it is still a very enjoyable song all the way through. It's one of my favorites, and again, you put a woodblock and an angular guitar in there, and I'm just going to like it. Track 6, Witness, Can I Get A, is probably one of my least favorite tracks on this album. Honestly, there isn't anything too wrong with this song, but in this album, it just feels a little bit out of place. James is almost rapping on this track, and the instruments just feel a little bit jammy to me. But this is overall a very quick track, so I can't complain too much on it, and if you like the track, that's a great thing. Track 7, Land of the Blind, follows in the same steps as Rich, the 4th track on this. The guitar here is a lot more prominent. There's this moment with like a ba 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 beep bow, and it sounds like a swan song almost, with the choruses going on in the sides of the track, but it's done in a lot more goofier post-punk fashion. Again, this song, like Rich, does a very good job of introducing, removing instruments, creating new tones, expanding upon old tones, doing everything that I like musically done in an album. There's a bit in the middle of the song where the singer is saying that you gotta put some money in his hand, he's gonna close it, you close your eyes and they both just disappear. And I think it's humorous and it fits into the nature of the band that's already been put on display. The ending guitar on this is well crafted and is a perfect playoff on the song, a great song altogether. Track 8, Quarantines in the Sticks, is the turning point of this album for me. I really like the introduction of this song, but once the vocals start coming in, I start losing interest. This beginning is very melodic, it's very momentum based, and then it just kind of switches into this energy pushing post-punk song. I think that the chorus on this is very interesting. I like the use of contrast with a new vocalist being added, and the haunting harmonizing that they have between each other. However, it's not enough to keep my attention on the song, as once this chorus kind of fades away, so does my eagerness and willingness to listen to this song as well. Despite saying all of that, I still think it's an alright song overall. I'm going to group the last 3 tracks on this all together because they are just not, for me personally, I don't think they fit in the album as well. Tall Poppies is the one of the 3 that I feel like does do a good job of pertaining to the album, but I just don't like it as much. These other 2 I just think take a lot from it, and they just kind of feel added on as a bonus to kind of fit an album quota. They didn't scratch that post-punk itch that I usually have, that political, that quirky, that sarcastic, pessimistic approach. It's just not going on there. The instrumentation isn't as angular, it's not as busy, it's not as groovy, it's not as funky. It's just kind of there. Who knows though, maybe my feelings change in the future, as everybody's feelings do change in the future. But in the handful of listens that I have done, these last few songs just kind of get blurred at the end to me. Altogether, this album really had my attention in the forefront, but I kind of lost that in the second half. This is the first release from the band, and honestly, like I've said before, I think there is a lot of potential once they focus in on the sound, tones, and deliverance that they want to go with forward. I definitely don't think this is going to be one of their best albums in the future if they stay together as a band, as I'm looking forward to more singles coming out, EPs, albums, etc. Like I said before, let them figure this sound out, and I think that they're going to be one of the juggernauts of the post-punk scene. I still enjoyed this album, especially like the first half, as I said, so I'm going to give this 7.1 David Firsts out of 10. What did you think of this album? What albums would you like me to review in the future? Please leave a comment below and let me know. Subscribe if you like the content, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.